Hi, sorry I'm late. I couldn't connect. The platform that I'm using was wonky. It was just a little janky today. Hi everybody. How are you? Hi, sorry. I've been trying to connect for the last like 5 minutes. Okay, my dog is here. 1 second. Come here. Okay. Okay, say hi, baby. Say hi to everybody. I know my hair is too long, huh? Okay. Let me say hi to everyone. Were you happy to see Suga updating like 5 years? Okay, my bangs are janky. Okay, and I need to color my hair. Okay, well you're gonna bear with however I look. All right. Say hi to everybody. Hi, Nigma, Kathleen, Evie, Carol, HHK, and Leah, Robin, Z. I am Claudia, Sunny, um, Patty, Z, Nigma, Cindy, A. Brown, Reg, Anne, James, Simply JJ, AGL, Elizar, Carmi, Sylvia, MLB, Warren, OSP, Elizdi, Dawn Marie, Linda, Evie, Bang Luna, Robin Carr, PTS Paved the Way, Lisa, Angel Star, Melva, Halina, A. Brown. Hi, Debak. They're saying hi to you, baby. They're saying hi to you. Say hi. Oh, so many people saying hi to you. Chrissy, Multistan. You miss Debak? Well, he's here. He had so much fun yesterday. I took him to the park, and he hasn't actually seen a squirrel in that park in the last 3 weeks, I think, or maybe two or three. But yesterday he hit jackpot. There was one squirrel on a tree, and it couldn't get out of that tree, basically. So yeah, I think it was just scared of him. Um, Lorena, Linda, Lady H, Jolly, Jolia, TLT, Cindy, MLB, Abby, Chimmy, hi Chimmy, Nigma Price, Tickles World, Taryn, Crystal, Lisa Parker, Ophelia, Elizar, Pia, Saskia. Okay, I think I said hi to everybody. Salmar, PZ, Rainstorm. Suga posted exactly 2 years, correct. 2 years after. Um, I don't know if you really just waited. Celeste, Kez, Mirna, Lara. Okay, I think that's everybody. Lynn, Sinri, Deborah, Livia, Rolanda, Shell, Lara, Sci-Fi GD Audrey from Australia. Hi everyone. Well, is do you have relatives or anybody in Milan or Italy for that matter? Because I know there's some uh, riots going on, and I was just wondering if any one of you, if you have relatives there, are they safe? Are they okay? Are things settled now? That's number one. And number two is that um, I know that Jin is there. So when I heard about the riots, the first thought was, as I've said, just everyone that, if they are safe. And then second is Jin because he's there for the Milan Fashion Week. So I hope that whoever, if you have friends or relatives or loved ones there, I hope they're all doing okay. Second thing, hi Shelling, Sunny, Miranda, uh, Wonder Human. So, and then the other thing is, I hope that you're not hearing the AC. It's still a little too hot for me to not have the AC on. So, okay. So, but I hope say hi, baby. They miss you. Yeah, I have a friend there. Well, it's not exactly in that area, but yeah, so I did text them. They're kind of, they're in the country, so they're not so affected, but they said that it's pretty chaotic. His son, who works in Italy, was kind of scared. So um oh, Angel Star said she can't be with you. She needs to go. It's okay. Okay, so I hope that if you have loved ones there, you check on them and just make sure that they're okay. You can't hear the AC. Okay. That book is so cute. Hi, Poppy. Hi. Army did purple ribbon in Milan airport. I felt so proud of seeing that. Yeah. I guess yeah, I saw it and they have like confetti. In the US, of course, you don't need that. You can't actually do that. You might get thrown out of the airport. But it's a nice gesture. I'm sure that Jin actually felt happy seeing that. Number one, it's a sign that armies were there to welcome him, right? And second is that they were not loitering, they were just organized in one corner. So he was able to move around. So I hope that, that continues. But it's better if they just don't go to the airport, of course. Did someone throw confetti at Jen? Yes. Yes. Someone did. You can't do that in LA. In LAX, you're gonna get arrested for okay. Do you want to do Bang Shiyuk first, the case, or Wayang Yonwa, or news and updates? And I have a little to share about Halsey and Zayn Lowe's interview because it's very important given that BTS is not signing with a Western label. By Angel Star. That picture of Suga was so badass. Wayang Yonwa, news and updates, Bang Shiyuk, or just a short discussion on Halsey and Zane Lowe. Wayang yon anniversary. Okay, Bang PD. Get Bang PD out of the way. Great interview, news and updates. It's all different. Okay, I am just gonna go. Let's go. Okay, let's go. Hmm. Let's go news and updates. Bang Shiyok, or news and updates. Wayang Yonwa, Bang Shiyok. Okay. The Halsey thing is very interesting. Yeah. So is Bang doing well? Yeah. So he is doing well. So for the for okay, for one is that, so for the, I'm sure that you've heard about this dealer's choice. Yeah, dealer's choice. So I'm sure that you've heard about wait, let me do it that way. Okay. That Jungkook and Jimin was actually chosen for Madame Tussauds Hot 100 for 2025. So it doesn't mean that they're going to get their own wax figure. It just means that they were sort of like the most influential 100 for the year, but still a great honor for this duo. So I hope that eventually all of BTS will get their wax figures. That would be such a treat. And I hope that they put it in the Hollywood one. But great news for this duo. They truly deserve it. So I'm very very proud of them. So if you can, please go to their website and just check out the article, share it so that you all, for it to get more engagement. That interview with Halsey, yeah. So wax figures are creepy. It depends. They are some of them are. It's just that some are actually well made. It's always better when the wax figure is sort of more funny, not funny, but when it depicts a specific moment instead of just like a plain wax figure, instead of just a mannequin, if they make it so that it depicts a certain moment, it's better. So but I do hope they all get their wax figure. Hi Evie. Evie is on Twitch. Um so yeah, it's just like it it's still a big honor. So if you can, please go to their website, just to check out and have increase the interaction of Jimin and Jungkook. So the two of them were chosen. So congratulations to the two. I would love to see Jimin wax figure made of one of his fan dance positions. Oh yeah, you know. And then Jungkook, who looks so young in this picture, I had to double take just to, I had to double check just to make sure that it's actually him. He clocked in 9.6 billion streams on Spotify across all credits. But would you believe that? 9.6 billion. Wow. That's our matinee. So this is across all credits, still a great achievement. And he's not far from this. I think he's going to get to 10 billion in, I don't know, in less than a week, I believe. So uh, proud of our matinee as always. And then, as I've mentioned in the roundup, Who got 2 billion Spotify streams, making it the first and fastest solo song by an Asian native. Congratulations to the Jimin. There, he joins Dynamite, I believe. Of course, Seven, and then I think others like One of the Girls by Jennie, and then of Blackpink, and then Apathy by Rose and Bruno Mars. So, but all of those songs are collaborations except for Dynamite. So Dynamite though is not a solo song. It is an accompanied though, meaning they don't have a collaborator. There is no featuring artist. They have no collaborator in the song. So that makes Who the first and the fastest solo song by an Asian native to get to $2 billion, $2 billion, 2 billion streams. Aside from that, it is still holding steady inside Spotify weekly song chart, US weekly song chart, global daily song chart, and US daily song chart with 414 days for US, and then daily song chart, and then 59 for US weekly song chart. So it's really, and I think for the daily song chart, it is up in the US by 12 spaces, I think. So this song has legs, man. So I hope we keep on going. I can't wait for Are You Sure as well. And I'm really hoping, I hope that when they release Are You Sure, you know, the one thing that I'm really hoping for is an OST from this too. I mean, these are the two number one Billboard Hot 100 artists of BTS. So if they get, I mean, come on. Come on now. I don't even care if they don't write it. Just songs they have on, like, I don't, just get P Dog to write it, whatever. Now I saw this. BTS and TXT are both expected to have a comeback in March 2026. I do not think Big Hit is going to do this. So I'm assuming this is just rumors. Someone actually said it. Someone probably said the season, spring, and then decided, oh, spring. Beginning of spring is March. It must mean March. But I honestly do not think that High or Big Hit for that matter, not High, but Big Hit will actually allow this to happen. I think, and even these two groups, I don't think will allow this to happen. At the very least, they'll have a week difference. So I don't think it's going to be March. If it is going to be March, it's probably going to be first week and then very last day of March or something. But we do know, in terms of BTS's comeback in 2026, we know that's not news because it was V who first told us about it, that they're going to have a comeback. So nothing new about that. We've all known that already. So, um, okay. Two members of Trainee X is in competition, Song Won and Leo. Please vote for them. Oh, Oh, okay. Competition for what? Leos and okay. Okay, so I don't think it's probably a rumor and someone's passing it on as a fact. And then of course, RM attended together with V, attended the No Other Choice VIP premiere. And of course, I do have a picture of the two of them here. Aren't they so cute? So that's the two of them in the premiere. Love seeing them here. Planet Boys 2 Hype. Okay. All right. So, and then here's another one. I have a picture of them doing the heart sign together. I love the way that V is looking at RM. It's like so fond of his leader. So, but yeah, I love them. I love them together. I love seeing them together. Okay. I know, right? And it's nice to actually see them in a casual setting, just having fun. Okay. And then so here's so someone actually published this. Allegedly, it came from Korean reporters talking about the schedule of BTS. They said that the BTS members are actually going to attend this fashion week, the fashion week to represent or to support the brands that they are representing. So far we know that Jungkook actually attended the CK fashion show in New York, and we know that he said that it wasn't something that he like it wasn't for him. He was so funny. So he went live after. And also, I'd like to take this opportunity to appeal to everybody to be a little bit more discerning when we're distributing or forwarding stuff the BTS members actually said. So what JK said could have easily be taken out of context, and it's a good thing he actually explained what he meant. Right when he said going out or leaving the party, he said like, "What kind of a party is this?" And it's not that he said that he didn't mean it that way. It was just that because the Korean language is really 50% the intonation. So he was just like, "Oh, what kind of a party is this?" It's just like he's really just asking what type of a party is this. But let's be a little bit more discerning when we are forwarding or liking pictures or clips of BTS because it could be easily taken out of context. But anyway, so far this list has gotten two things correct. Jin and Jungkook. So Jin for Gucci and then Jungkook for Calvin Klein. So let's see if it's going to if the rest are actually correct. However, so of course, people are very, very interested in seeing Suga and Jimin because those two are the ones that are missing lately. So let's see if Jimin is actually going to attend the Dior fashion show in Paris, October 1, and Valentino for Suga on October 5. He didn't seem to impress. Yeah, but that's for us, it's funny. But let's do remember that that is a brand that he is representing, right? So um now, this is the actual, let me make it bigger. So, this is the actual schedule of the fashion show, the fashion week. And I'm sorry that you can't see it clearly, but there is no Valentino. So, I don't think that Suga is actually going. But let's see if the rest are going. I think, pretty much if RM attends the Bottega show, there's a high chance that the rest are correct. So let's see, right? JK has always been a homebody, and I don't think that's like he's not like a high end party kind of person. And allegedly, so there are some people, some influencers who actually posted on Instagram about the party, and it was really mostly influencers trying to make connections. I just saw this from like other influencers who actually attended the party. So they were like and they weren't, yeah, so they were just like, it's connection more than anything. So they're trying to network, meet other people. So probably that's why it wasn't such a lively party. But anyway, so if you want to see the official schedule of the fashion week, there is a website. Just go there, and it seems that Valentino is actually not there. Okay. um And then, so another clarification. So this guy is the PR, the global PR director of Jimin, sorry, of Dior. And he just followed Jimin in IG. But then he also followed, so there you go. So he followed Jimin and he just did it like a day ago. But he also followed the rest of the Maknae line. He also followed V, he also followed Jungkook. So okay, just wanted to clarify that. And then this is the creative director of Dior. He's also following Jimin. So let's see if he's going to attend. I hope he does. We all miss him. I mean, I would be happy with like a split second of view of Jimin just to see him. I don't care. I just found this picture so cute, so I thought I'll just share it with you. Nothing really special about the picture. It's just Suga and Jungkook, but yeah, just saw it. I just wanted to show it to you guys. And this is his latest post. One of the pictures that he posted. So it seems that they are shooting something or rehearsing something because he's on a dolly. That's a dolly. So I don't know. It could it could be a photo shoot or something. Let's see. Yeah, I want to see that he's okay. And I absolutely love the undercut. He does look tall in this shot. So but I absolutely love, I just like, oh my god, like I just was just so happy to see any kind of update. He could have posted a picture of his fingertips and I would still be happy. I don't care what kind of update I get from them at this stage. Any kind of update will do. So absolutely love that he is back. And we know that the hospital that he is sponsoring is about to open as well. So I'm happy for that as well. Okay. Someone said Shadow 2. Yeah. Someone said, oh, it could be Shadow 2 because El Capitan reposted this and he was concentrating on the shadow. It could be a collaboration. It could be something that he's doing for someone else. Let's see. Okay. Someone translated what JK said. Um is this a party? But he corrected it on what today, that what kind of party is this? Yeah. He sort of clarified it. Because that's a brand that he is representing. So just wanted to, as I've said, just let's just be a little discerning when we are you're not comfortable, huh? Let's just be a little discerning when we are okay, baby. All right. Okay. When we're forwarding photos and videos of them, let's just make sure that it will not be, at least let's try to make sure that it's not, to the best of our ability, not going to be taken out of context. So it could be Shadow too. Let's see. Okay. Um, all that stuff in the background looks like he's there for the long haul. It could be that they're setting up something. It could be that they're shooting something. We don't know. That's a dolly. So that's one of the things that they use if you want to shoot a moving shot. So you can either put a camera on top or have the person like what he's doing on top of it. The only thing that's missing, the only the reason I feel it's more a setup than anything is that that dolly, you can't use it the way that it is set up right now because that's going to shake, which is not good for the camera. Usually there's a track. So that thing you put on a track so that it's very steady when you're pulling it or pushing it to move. So let's see what they're going to be coming out with. But anyway, at this stage, I just want to see them. I'm okay with whatever it is that they're going to release. Okay, just an update on the winners of the Fact Music Award. This one's a little funny because they apparently split the desang. They used to have one desang, and it has been won by BTS in all the years that it's been in place, but they split it into five. So now they have five desangs. Now, of course, congratulations. All these groups actually deserve an award. I absolutely love that they actually got an award. Let me just go live on Instagram. I forgot to go live there. Okay, um, so it's just that I think my only issue is that you're like you're reducing the value of the desang because it seems that the only goal is to just satisfy as many labels as they could. So it's like giving the best picture in Oscars to five different movies, then it's going to lose its value, right? So I don't know, but it's still, as I've said, I feel like all of this actually, all these groups deserve an award. It's just that in their effort to satisfy people, to satisfy as many labels as they could, and they're just giving it away. What is Muse of the Year? I have no idea. So that's how they split it. So Record of the Year, Icon of the Year, Sound of the Year, Muse of the Year, and Honor of the Year. So it used to be just one desang. Does Espa even sing live? Love those girls, but come on. So I've actually, as a reaction to the video that I posted defending Espa, a lot of people have been sending me clips to prove that I was incorrect when I said that they consistently sing live. So thank you very much for sending me those. But people are like, yeah, no, you're just saying that because you like them and whatever. So yeah, okay. So, but still, I do believe that all of the members here, actually, all the groups in this list, they deserve an award, right? It's just that I don't think all of them deserve a desang because you're just, as I've said, devaluing the importance of the award when you're giving it to many people just so you could satisfy as many labels as this. So I mean, just personally, I think it's Stray Kids for this year. Come on. But whatever. So so yeah, it's no longer that prestigious award, right? If everybody can get it, then you know, I don't know. Okay, so next is that I don't know if you know this Japanese group Yasobi. It's a very popular Japanese duo, and they are going to have a collaboration with Le Seraphim. Nothing surprising about that. I keep on reminding people that Sakura remains to be the darling of Japan. So if they are going to be collaborating with anybody, of course it's going to be Le Seraphim. But if you haven't checked Yasobi, please go ahead and do so. They are a great band. They are really really good. And if only, I believe, if only they sing in English, they could make a bigger career in the US. They do have a steady career in the US. It's just that it's very niche. They can go mainstream, I think. So congratulations to that collaboration. I'm looking forward to it. Outside of that, they also released a Japanese single. They covered a song of Selena. I'm talking about Le Seraphim, which I haven't listened to, but when I saw it, it was pushed to me by the YouTube algorithm. I was like, wow, you're singing in Spanish. Okay. Next is that Cortys actually they actually have a lot of achievements this last week and this week. And they now, I think, have the highest monthly listeners among all fifth gen groups. So, and then they also surpassed Espa as the highest charting K-pop song in Apple Music in South Korea. And I think they also hit number 12 in Billboard 200 or something like that. But yeah, they got into the top, I for sure top 30 of Billboard 200. So for a first album, that's impressive. So congratulations to Cordy's. Just want to warn everybody that people are setting them up now for a hate train. So you're gonna hear a lot of people talking shit about them. Young's Little Fantasy also debuted at number 38 on Billboard 200 with 17,300 units. So this is a great thing for Cheong because she's not exactly the most popular member of ones, but I think in terms of album quality, hers is the most unique. So I would also encourage everybody to just play it once. Just go to your YouTube, let it run once, all the tracks in her mini album, and you're going to be very surprised. And also give her music videos a try. You won't be visually, it is stunning. It'll fill you up. It's such a good music video and a good first album for her. Joyride is a mellow banger. Yeah, and I have a reaction to that, some sort of a review. The way they set it up is so interesting. So it's actually backwards. So, and also the intention behind it, because I think it was Martin, was it Martin or well, one of the five who was talking about how they came about, how the lyrics came about, because they said that the melody was already melancholic. So it was sort of going to be very expected if they write something sad. So they wanted to do something different. So, Fire Butterfly, hi. Okay, so give Cheong her music video of one view, and also um a listen to all of her albums. Okay, so let's go to this. So NCT Stale, as you all know, have been sentenced to 3.5 years in prison for the gang rape of a tourist with two friends. And okay, so I never really concentrated on this news. Whenever I see it, I would just sort of read the headline and that was about it. And for this, I actually decided to look at it, look at what actually happened in the case. And so I read the statement of his legal representative. And this is what he said. He's deeply remorseful and aware of the lasting trauma inflicted on the victim. He conveyed an apology to the victim, and he has expressed, and she has expressed that she does not wish for punishment. TAEIL has since voluntarily taken part in sex crime prevention, education, and counseling, and has vowed not to repeat such an offense. His mother had to quit her job because of this incident, and TAEIL now only occasionally helps out a friend's restaurant. Their family is experiencing severe financial hardship. So, this is the statement of the lawyer. However, in the next statement, which I can't print because YouTube is going to get me, he did say it out loud, or at least in the statement, he actually admitted to the gang bleep. Okay, so he admitted to it, and it wasn't even, they admitted to all the things that the girl actually said. So it is true it was done without her consent, and it is true that it wasn't just one guy, it was three of them. They were under the influence, and I was just really shocked at the at what they actually did. And then I think what even shocked me was the defense that he offered. It wasn't even a defense, it was just like some sort of a statement that he said it was a lapse in judgment. And it was like, okay, beating the red light might be a lapse in judgment, right? You know, people do that at some point in our lives. Some people don't get caught, but sometimes you're just in a hurry or you think you're going to make it. So maybe running the red light is a lapse in judgment. But doing that to a woman, it's not like you're one and done in a split second, which is what running the red light is, right? So I was like, how can you even give that defense? And this was what he said is his reasoning for asking a lower punishment, because that's what he's asking for now. So he's going to be 3.5 to 5 years in prison, but he's asking for more leniency, primarily because he's saying that's not me. It was just, whatever, what I took. So it's my foot, baby. So it was just like, I don't understand. Number one, even if it is a first offense, I don't, this is three people doing it to one girl. So I don't understand why it would just be 3.5 years in prison. Shouldn't something like this be 25 to life automatic? Right? So I really don't understand this part. Second is that, shouldn't the media, Western media, be blowing this up as a lesson to people that if you do something like this, everything that you have worked so hard for can be taken away from you. Um, but it's getting buried in the newspapers. That's why I don't find much of it, because I don't really get the details of the case. It I just decided that I was going to dig deeper to see um the case. So it was just really surprising to me, the priorities of the media, the way this has been, they were able to bury this. It was frustrating. Okay. But it is him. Yeah, it is him. And yeah, and he automatic, I mean, right after, there was, he didn't even put up a fight. It was, he admitted it was him. And he admitted to everything the girl said they did, and they were pretty horrific. If you look at the details of the case, I can't say it here because I'm going to get banned, but it was pretty horrific. It's not something that, as I've said, it's not a split second thing. It's not like, okay, after 1 second it's over. No, it's an extended thing. So I don't I don't understand. I don't understand why the media isn't blowing this up. It could serve a lesson to people. Um, especially those that are working for the entertainment industry. You already have great opportunities on your hand. Might as well take care of it. Don't do something stupid like this. And don't do, not even just stupid, just don't do something criminal. Right. So, okay. Was the victim underage? No. No, she was not. She was not. But there were three of them, and there's only one girl. And the details was just horrific. It was, did he hold her hostage? She was not in a condition to refuse or consent. She was just not in a condition to do anything. She should have been brought home, and that's it. That's the only thing that they should have done. Nothing else. They should not have left her there. They should not do anything to her, talk to her, whatever. The only thing is, you either call the parents or whoever to get her picked up or bring her home. Those are the only two things that are acceptable in that situation. um they tried to falsify the cab's GPS to hide evidence. Correct. They did. They tried to do that, and they admitted to all of this, by the way. Okay, want to go down? You're not comfortable. You say hi to everybody. I say bye bye. Say bye bye. Okay. Bye. Okay. All right. Um. So it was. Yeah. It was an extended thing. It wasn't like a. It wasn't like, let's take her to the bathroom, and it wasn't like that. So it lasted several hours. So okay. I don't understand. I really don't understand why the media isn't blowing this up. He is using a court appointed lawyer. So this is not a private lawyer for him. And the only reason I mentioned that is to just reflect on the financial condition of the guy, right? And this has nothing. So that case is, I'm done talking about this case. I'm just talking about SM Entertainment, because NCT is one of the most popular groups in South Korea, and I think he belongs to two groups of NCT. So they have like several people, several groups, and then one person can actually be a member of like two to three groups, and he's a member of two to three or something like this, but he's one of the most popular. And so I was just assuming that at that stage he would have the money to actually hire a private lawyer. But he didn't. He actually just used a court appointed lawyer. Now it could be that he chose to just use a state appointed lawyer or a court appointed lawyer because he wants to leave the money. He didn't want to spend it so that he could just leave it behind for his family. It's the least that he can do after everything that he has done, considering that his mom has to stop working or whatever. But okay, um, that is not the only legal thing. Was he the leader or the main vocalist? I'm not sure if he's the main vocalist. He's not the leader, I do not think, but he no. I'm not sure if he's the main vocalist. He's one of the vocalists. So so yeah. So I think maybe the reason that he decided not to hire a private lawyers to just so he could leave his money behind for his family. I mean, after everything that he has done to his family, I think the least that he could do. But I just thought that at that stage he would have the money to actually leave behind for his family and also hire a private lawyer. But okay, so the other legal thing that SM is actually facing right now, which is pretty outstanding to me, that it's also not being hyped up by the media, is the legal case that they are pursuing against their own uh, idols. And the idols, these three idols, actually countersued as well. So EXO CBX is a unit in EXO, and it's made up of Baekhyun, Sumin, and Shen. And I know that Baekhyun is one of the most popular of in the group. Don't come after me, but I do believe that he's one of the most popular. So after the seventh year, I believe, they decided to create their own agency. And initially, SM didn't want that. They actually went through some legal proceedings to actually get that. Now, SM is suing them. They are suing the three. So remember, before this, these three already spoke up, and they were about to sue SM Entertainment because they said that SM is actually not paying them the right way. Okay, so they settled that. Now, after this, SM allow them to have their own agency for their individual activities, but they remain in SM for EXO. Now, SM Entertainment is arguing that these three guys failed to honor their agreed upon payment terms for their independent activities because apparently EXO CBX was supposed to pay them 10% of their gross income. So when they do any kind of individual activities, they'll remit 10% to SM Entertainment. And SM said that they didn't do that. And so they sued the three members. Okay. And they are seeking 429,000 in damages. They want to recover that. Now, the three members countersued and they said that, well, you didn't pay us for our group activities for EXO. So we don't have to pay you because we can kind of just cancel that. So we're going to countersue you, which they did. And so their first mediation is going to be on the 24th, and they will be settling the lawsuit of SM Entertainment against the three idols. Now, another thing that came about was Baekhyun's decision to not use his own money to put up his own agency. So a lot of people were criticizing him because he filed a loan to operate his agency. And he initially and people were like, if you were getting paid well, then you don't need the money to open your own business. And he said that he doesn't want to touch his own money and that he actually just wants to feel motivated to work harder. Now, I just want to make sure that people understand that it's very, very normal for people who already has an operating cost when they put up an agency or a business to file for a loan. So that I don't think that is a fair assessment for Baekhyun. He probably has his own money and simply doesn't want to use his own. That's perfectly normal. But this stuff like this only goes to show and prove just how um messed up this agency is. This is not the first major case that they filed against their artists. You have TVXQ, of course. Now, they've been around longer as well. So it's natural for them to have more legal trouble. I mean, look at the kind of legal trouble that HYBE is in. So, but But again, if you look at it from a if you pull back a little bit, you'll see just how strong the hold of SM Entertainment is on the media, because no one is writing about this, right? I just remember this when I was writing the Hybe case. So I had to search for this and realize that there is a mediation going on the 24th. But this proves that if you have the right PR strategy in place, there's a lot of things you can actually downplay. And SM Entertainment is actually able to control the narrative. Okay. Some of the other lawsuits that were filed against them was Chris Wu in 2014, that also ended up in settlement, and he complained about slave contract, lack of health support, and excessive control. So I think he simply wanted to go back to China. He was popular enough, so he wanted to go back to China and just pursue his own activities. They settled in 2016. Now, after that, there's also another one from EXO, which is Luhan. And he said that there is unfair treatment, discrimination against Chinese members, and excessive control. They also settled with SM in 2016, and then he just stayed in China. Tao also filed a lawsuit for health issues, citing SM's lack of support for injuries. And he left EXO, settled with SM in 2017. So, just to be clear, settlement doesn't mean that they just get to walk free. There's probably some fines involved here. They probably paid off their contract in one way or another, or it could have been the TVXQ deal, which means that they would just continuously pay for it until in parts until they actually pay off the entire settlement. But because they are bound by non-disclosure agreements, they actually don't talk about the details of the case. Okay, so just wanted to emphasize that there are so many legal cases happening, and against other agencies. Some are worse than the others, specifically that case of TAEIL, and they're not getting the publicity that I feel they deserve. Something like that should be highlighted because it's going to teach people a lesson. Okay, do you have questions? I'm beginning to think that SK is just as so happy as the US in certain respects. In certain respects, maybe. Yeah, in certain respects. Everyone say firm rapture. Because the thing is that um it's a whole there's less to gain from people in suing. That's why for the US there's more to gain if you sue like McDonald's or something. There's less to gain from them. Yes, that's just how it is structured for them. Any of the guys from EXO still on stage these days? Yeah, they have a comeback, and they sort of hinted that it's going to be the original, well, the whoever is left, 9 members. So Suho is definitely there, Chanyeol, um the three Becky, this three that's suing them, they will be joining them. So yeah, they still are there. But and Hybe needs to manufacture Apple boxes. Everyone wants to pay off. Did the Mama Roach come from SM? The term slave contract sounds familiar. Yes, she came from SM. She started as an artistic um something in the art department. That's how she started. She was doing layout of albums, Photoshop and stuff, and then she climbed through the ranks. Do they still have a following, EXO? I think so. They have a very, very loyal fan base. Kai is also in EXO. He's on tour though. So yeah, yeah. So yes, she actually came from EXO. So since we talked about Mama Roach, let's talk about her next. So as you know, Bang Shiyuk was actually called in for a second questioning by the police, and the first one lasted for 14 hours, and they want him the second time. Okay, so as I kept on mentioning to everybody, this is the entire reason he came back. This is why he came back. Bang Shiyuk specifically said that he is going to cooperate. He's going to go whenever they call him. That is the whole reason he left his business to somebody else in the US and Latin America and Japan and all over the world just so they could attend he could attend to all of these hearings. So he's doing that. He's attending all of it. So he was called in for the second time. And I think you cannot deny this. That last week, one of the funniest things that ever happened that came out of this thing was this statement from Min Hee Jin, from Min. She said that Bang Shiyuk told me there was no plan for an IPO. So she provided an interview right after the 14-hour questioning of Bang Shiyuk the first time. She provided reporters an interview. And she said that Bang Shiyuk actually promised her that there was not going to be an IPO. And that's why her bonus was actually converted, was instead came in cash. So that was what she signed for. It was cash instead of shares because Bang Shiyuk said there is no plan for an IPO. Okay, and she said a lot of things to the reporters. Now, it was so funny that the legal team was like, "Well, I'm not really sure if they spoke, but thanks to her for confirming what we have been saying all the time." And I thought it was the funniest thing that ever. It was like, "Way to go, way to go." Well played, well played. Don't you think? It was well played. When I heard their response, I was like, well played, well played. If I been in her situation, I would have probably just said, okay, well played, well played. You got that one. So it was funny. We don't know if they actually spoke, but thanks to her for confirming what we have been saying. So, okay. It was absolutely hilarious. This was like one of the funniest things I've ever heard. It really made my day. Okay. So why was he called in for the second hearing, for the second questioning? There's a lot of reasons. People asked me this. Why was he actually called for for the hearing for a second time for round two of questioning? There's several reasons. It could be all of this. It could be one of this. It could be a combination of different ones. But one is to clarify contradictions if they found that their banks actually saying something that contradicts their documents or contradicts other statement that he actually said, then they will call him again just to clarify things and finalize things. It could also be that they secured something new, like the statement of Min Hee Jin. If after providing statement to the police, she formally submitted an evidence to the police, and sorry, after providing their statement to the reporters, she actually provided something to the police and it's something new. He could have been called in relation to that or just other new evidence of some sort. Okay. So we don't know. Next is that it could be testimonies, witness testimonies. If there are people who came forward and provided new information, they have a new witness, someone said that she or he knows something, then they could ask him to clarify those points. Okay. This is probably the most important, and a lot of like lawyers are saying that this could be it. There has to be a proper assessment of intent versus negligence. So, in a crime, as you know, one thing could actually lead from the difference between a homicide and an actual murder, and that is intent. If there was an intent to murder, to kill, then that is murder. If there is no intent, then that could be homicide. So the same thing is true in a financial case like this. Did they intend to lie to the investors, or that they were just negligent? Okay, so that could be it. There's trying to establish which of the two. Okay. Um Police has been given excessive power to investigate now. It actually took power from the prosecutor's office. Under table money is always in play. I will clarify this as well in a bit. Okay. So, and then the other is that they are probably preparing as well to forward the case to refer it to the prosecution. So they just want to make sure that everything that they have is airtight, because after they put this on the hands of the prosecutor's office, it's hands off for them anymore. And the prosecutor's office will have no choice but to review the case in the merits of what was submitted to them. So they just want to make sure that this is locked, this is airtight for them to, before they actually submit their recommendation. Or it could be pressure and strategy. In high profile cases, repeated questioning like this could also serve as an investigative pressure. The more time someone is called in, the more likely inconsistencies or admission can emerge. So let's see what it is that they are doing, but any of those could be in play. Now, the one thing is that it could be that they have nothing. It could also be that, and that they are trying to get something, trying to make the connection before, as I've said, they forward it to the prosecutor's office. So the claim primarily is that Bang told investors there are no IPO plans and instructed investors to sell their shares. This is the main thing that he's being accused of. Hybe is saying, we said that there were no plans because there were no plans to go public in 2019. Now, in any kind of finance, because I came from the finance industry, as you know, the last job that I had, that was from in a finance investment industry. Um, One of the things that we always advise, not really advise, but one of the things that we always put forward to clients is to weigh their options and to make sure that they are very much in touch with the possibility that anything could crash, right? So before, if you're going to sign $1 million to an investment firm or a finance manager or something, read the agreement. And in that agreement, there's always a clause that states we are not responsible for any kind of losses you're going to suffer, even though that they are managing your money. So because it's the risk that you're going to have to take. And whenever something happens, we always tell, that's the first thing that we do. We tell people, we tell our investors, there's something happening in the social economic whatever, please make sure that you are informed. We're here to answer your questions, but you're going to have to make the decisions. It's always like that. So Bang Shiyuk was just doing his dude, just he's making sure he's just covering his CYA, covering your ass. So he's just telling them this could fall. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, there's no plan for an IPO. People are trying to tap out. We don't know what's going to happen. So if you're going to sell, go ahead and do so. We're not going to stop you. Okay. All right. So, why do regulators feel there was an IPO plan? Okay, this is based on the investigations already, not just what is being written by some people. Okay, so 2011. So remember, this is pre BTS, pre BTS, pre debut of BTS. 2011, the very first investor they had was LB Investments. So remember that time when high big hit at that time was going to crash. They were going to declare Chapter 11. LB was one of those that were consistently investing in the company. So they were there before anybody else. Okay. So, all right. So they're initial investors. 2018, after the entrance of BTS, Stick Investments invested money. So they came in as private investors. Both Stick and LB investors are private equity funds. So a PEF, that's what they do. They buy companies. And when you buy a company, if you're a private equity fund, your main focus is an exit, meaning you invest it after several years, you need to be able to sell your shares at a gain. Okay, that's your only concern. You're not concerned about technology or whatever. Just like, I just need my money back. That's what a private equity is. So they send out their dollars and expect those dollars to come back with company. But basically, now 2018, with BTS booming, we know what's happening in 2018. LB Investments, they sold their shares to Stick Investments, because that, so they first invested 2011. Okay. So they were like 2018, BTS is booming. Okay, we're getting a lot of our shares are actually way more now. It's worth way more. So they sold their shares to stick investments and they gained 1900%. 1,900% of gains is what they got. Okay, so 2018 they sold it, and that's how stick investments actually ended up with 12 to 13% of stocks. Okay. Um, so Vice, now one of the founding members of HYBE, Vice President Choi Yu Jong, also said she wanted to sell. Sorry. So she said she wanted to sell, and you can't blame her. It's about time that they cash in on whatever investments that they made. Now they needed to raise 50 billion won in order to buy her shares. Okay, someone needs to buy it and someone needs to cough up 50 billion won. And that was the problem that they were having because they couldn't find anybody to buy her shares. And so someone stepped in, and his name is Kim Jong Dong, and he was later on the became the chief investment officer of HYBE, but he is at that time he was one of those that were helping HYBE raise the funds all the way to before, like since 2011 he has been helping HYBE, but he wasn't an employee. So at that time when they couldn't find anybody, he said, okay, I'll step in. He created his own fund and bought 23.4 billion off her the 50 billion she wanted to sell. So the problem is that they were still short. Okay, so they were still short. Yes, so you must remember that BTS had military service looming at that time. Yes, and at that time, aside from the military service, TXT wasn't established yet. So people were worried, like, where are you going to get your money if BTS is going to enlist? So they were short 26.6 billion won because they needed 50 billion won to buy her shares. And so Bang didn't have a choice. He personally bought her shares. So they couldn't find anybody else to do it. So he got it. He got it for himself. He said, okay, I'll just buy it. So the suspicion is that Bang Shiyuk, so this is one of their many suspicions, that Bang Shiyuk concealed the IPO plan from everybody, including Vice President Choi. And that's why no one was buying it. And that is why Vice President Choi also wanted to sell. And also, they feel that had he told everybody that there is an IPO plan, then even LB Investments might not have the intention to sell. Okay, that's their suspicion. Now, there were others who wanted to sell, and that included Legend Capital, also one of the investors that they have. And that is primarily because they were being pressured by their limited partners. So, a private equity fund gets their money from other investors, right? Individual investors. So, if you would remember, Suga invested in a private equity fund so that he can buy a sports team in the US, right? If you remember that. So Suga is actually a limited partner. So the limited partners, many limited partners of LP, they were pressuring Legend Capital. They were pressuring Legend Capital to buy out, to sell, because they wanted their money back already. Okay, so they wanted to get something. They wanted to get their gains. So they were being pressured. It was right around 2019. Okay, now Alpine Asset Management is also being pressured to sell their shares. Okay, by LPs as well. Now, what they did was actually convert their investments into common stocks, because what they had was preferential stocks. They converted into common stocks. Okay. Now, um, there was a case in Korea. It's called Lime Asset Management. It used to be the biggest private equity fund in Korea. They collapsed because they found out that they were essentially running a Ponzi scheme So remember that in a private equity fund, you're supposed to buy shares in companies, in different companies, and then eventually sell it for a gain, right? And so you rotate that money. You rotate that money so that when somebody, because for example, if I'm a private equity fund, I invested 100 million in, this is just an example, in NBA. And then my limited partners wanted out. I still don't want out. So they could be getting the money from somewhere else, right? Now, if apparently that's exactly what they are doing, it's just that it's a Ponzi scheme. So they will ask you to invest your money. Now, when you want to liquidate your money, they will get somebody else to invest and give you their money. So it's a Ponzi, like a Ponzi scheme. I'm sure that you know what a Ponzi scheme. So instead of actually selling the shares of the companies, they're getting it from other investors. So, because of this lesson, many limited partners have been scared of things like this. And so they were pressuring the PEF to sell already. Okay. And remember, as I said, this was 2018. BTS was going to enlist in the military and whatever. Okay. So, a mezzanine investment, because this was mentioned, this is any investment that is in between a debt and an equity, like convertible bonds, something that you can't automatically convert into cash, but also not a liability. Okay. All right. So I hope that's clear. Now, because there were a lot of people, a lot of investors wanted to sell, BTS, Hype simply didn't have the money to cover all of them. They were like, everyone wants to sell. So, and I don't know where to get the money. That was their problem. To the point that they actually requested for a suspension of the redemption to 2020. So everybody wanted to redeem their shares in 2019. And Hype didn't have the money, couldn't find the money, and they said, okay, give us some leg room here. Just give us some runway so that we can find the money. Okay. So now what happened was the same guy, the initial guy that set up the funds, and then also internally, so they were like discussing, is there like a possibility for an IPO? But because of the financial condition at that time, they didn't have that money. So they told people, as of now is not a good time for us to do an IPO because the valuation of the company is not that good. So Hybe applied for a designed audit after Legend Capitals did it. So remember, many of the LPs, the limited partners of Legend Capital, wanted to sell their shares. Now, Legend Capital told Hybe, can you please do a designated audit so that we can prove that you can do an IPO? So that's what they did. That's what Hype did. Upon the request of LP, they asked for a designated audit. Usually, a designated audit happens when there is an IPO preparation. Usually. But this time it was requested by Legend Capital. All right. So even after the designated audit, the LPs, the limited partners, were still pressuring Legend to sell. And so they did. They sold their shares. So Easton Fund 2, remember they first set it up initially to buy the shares of the vice president. Now they set up another fund, and bought 8.7 stake from LB, Legend, and Alpha Route. So they couldn't find anybody. Now, in this deal, this is where Bang Shiyok signed a deal with the PEF to guarantee that if they fail to do an IPO in 3 years, then Bang Shiyuk himself will be guaranteeing the return of their investment plus 7% interest. So this is where the guarantee took place. If, however, the IPO succeeds, then Bang gets 30% of the sale proceeds. All right. So this is the main contention. This is the loophole, and this is where everyone has been going gaga about because people keep on misinterpreting what happened. It was Bang Shiyuk who made a personal deal with the with Easton. It wasn't Hybe, it was him. He was saying, I'm going to pay you from my own pocket. If we fail an IPO in the next 3 years, I will buy your shares plus 7% interest. Okay. Now, because it is a private deal between Bang Hyuk and Easton, you do not have to disclose it publicly. If it had been Hybe and Easton, it would have been required to be disclosed. So May 2020, they succeeded in their IPO. And sorry, they submitted their preliminary IPO review, and it looked good. By August of 2020, BTS got their shares. So right around this time, Bang Shiyu kind of already realized that things are looking great. It looks like we are going to get approved. Here is your IPO. Here is your shares. So he gave each member 400, sorry, he gave all seven members 478,695,000 shares. And that is 68,385 per member. All right. So when he gave them the IPO, this is from his own shares. He didn't take it from anybody else. So he gave some of his shares to BTS members. So when he gave it to them, each member had about 7.9 US dollars. Okay. Now on the IPO date itself, that doubled. Okay. So in the personal guarantee that he did, that he had with Easton, that was not in Hybe's IPO prospectus because he didn't have to. According to their regulation, he did not have to disclose that because it was a private investment. But it was in the IM, the investment memorandum of Easton. So if Bang had guaranteed repayment as Hybe, it would count as a corporate debt. But because it was private, he didn't have to disclose. So he did not disclose. Okay. And that's what they are now saying. So this is what they are accusing him of, that he manipulated it so that he does not have to pay people. Okay, so the people will sell early and lose, and he will gain everything. Now on IPO date, Big Hit listed on Kospi. IPO price opened at 135 and it closed at 270 on the day itself. So that means the $7.9 million of BTS members doubled. So it became 15.8 or something. Now it hit all the way to 400. It hit 400. And 400 is when Stick Capital sold their shares. So, and because they hold a lot, that's when it crashed. It crashed back to about 220 or something. Now, because in investing in stocks, I don't know if you're aware of this, but in investments, there's what we call FOMO. This is what we tell investors never to have. And that is when you see a stock going up, you get excited, you don't want to miss out. It's the fear of missing out. You don't want to miss out. And so you buy. The tendency is that you buy at its peak. So like, don't do that. Don't just buy because it's going up. Look at the fundamentals of the company and buy when and keep it there because eventually it's going to get to that again. So now these people are saying, the police are saying that the retail investors are the biggest losers. That's number one. Second, that LB Investments, who gained 1900%, and the vice president and a few others, including Legend Capital, who was getting pressured by their limited partners, may not have sold their shares had he been open about the fact that he was going to do an IPO. And Hybe is saying, we didn't have plans on doing an IPO in 2019. That's why we said we didn't have plans in doing an IPO in 2019. And that was confirmed by Min Hee-jin. She confirmed it because she said that Bang Shi-yuk herself told her they were not going to do an IPO, and that was the truth. Now it's just that now it's I think the biggest question here is whether or not they're going to punish him for not following a regulation that wasn't there, right? Because remember that Bang Shiyuk's deal with Easton Private Equity Fund was a private thing. It was between Bang Shiyuk and Easton, not Hybe and Easton. And according to their regulation, he didn't have to disclose it. So he didn't. How many times do they have to say there was no IPO plans in 2019? Um, well, they're not buying it because usually a lot of people misunderstand this, and I'm sure because the department that's investigating this is not like the criminal investigation unit of the police, right? These are actually specializing in finance crimes. And so usually when you get investments like PEF or private equity funds, there's an intention to go public. Not always, but people always assume that if you have an investor like that, your intention is to go public. Not necessarily. You could just be getting an investors just so you can expand or something. And also PF don't always have to go public in order to make their gains. Like what LB investments did, they invested early. When their shares were way up, they sold, and beat Big Hit at that time wasn't public yet. So yeah. So the main thing, I hope that you're understanding everything that I'm saying. So if there's something that's not clear, ask me. So that is the how do we know more about the details that the police next door? So many of these financial documents are actually public. Like for example, the IPO document is actually public. It's open to everybody. You don't have to invest in order to get a hold of that. Like for me, I can get an IP the investors document of Coca-Cola or whatever. It's available out there. It's a public document. There are also filings that are actually public as well, like the investors memorandum, the IM, what they call the IM of PEF, of the private equity funds. Those are public as well. And so if you know where to find it, and a lot of other publications actually do, you can get hold of that. And so from there, they actually can track what happened. You see, like, oh, they went, somebody bought this at this time and whatever. So so you just need to find like the right publications that are actually reporting the facts and not sensationalizing this. And second is that a lot of the things that you find on like English based Korean publications, meaning, sorry, American based Korean publications, meaning those that are based in the US but are reporting on what's happening in Korean entertainment, most of them are manipulated in order to paint someone or something consistent with the narrative that they want to sell. So if they wanted to be verse against Bang Shiyuk, then they will just delete some things and report so that it looks like it's in favor of the narrative that they want to sell. The same thing is true if it is the other way around. If you are favoring Bang Shiyuk, then you can delete some things in order to sell a narrative that's consistent with what you want to sell. Okay. How far into 2020 did the IPO come to pass? Maybe it's the timing that makes them still question him. So, 29, the first public sign of an IPO was October of 2019, but that's a little questionable because it was Legend Capital who requested that from Bang Shiyuk. So they are one of the private equity funds investing, and they were getting pressured by their limited partners to sell, and they didn't want to sell. And so in order to sort of appease their limited partners, they asked Bang Shiyuk to do uh, a designated audit for their company to be audited. And usually that's the first thing that you do when you're going to go public. But Bang Shiyuk and Hai be saying, we didn't do that by ourselves. It was requested by our partner. We didn't do that ourselves. According to their internal assessments, they're not in a good place to do an IPO, primarily because they were losing money. A lot of the investors wanted to sell, right? So they're losing money. They were like, we're not in a good position to sell right now. But they did it for one of their investors. Now, May 2020 is when they submitted their IPO request. So you fill up a form, you prepare. So probably a month, 2, 3 months before that, they were gathering documents or whatever. And then they filed May of 2020. August of 2020, BTS got their shares. And then October is when they went public. Um, no investor has claimed fraud. This investigation is not fueled by that. It's not clear who's actually who initiated this. It's not clear who initiated and who's complaining. And I mean, I doubt it's LB Investments. You already gained that's more than 1,500%. What else do you want? Right? So, and nobody lost money. Anywhere, everyone who invested gained between 60% to 1,900%. So, it could be could be anybody. Um, so the investigation is them trying to find the evidence they don't have. They know that the rule can't be applied when it didn't exist. Without evidence, there is no case. Correct. Because everyone kind of already agrees that the rule that you need to disclose even private agreements with PEFs, that came after this case. So you can't apply it to this case. So the only thing that they need to find now for them to have a case is for the malice of not disclosing the intention to go public. That's the only thing that they have, that they may have. They need to prove that he willingly withheld that information. And Hybe saying that we didn't withhold anything because we didn't have the intention. That's it. Dynamite dropped at the end of August 2020. A scandal involving Coachella. It's the shaman hadn't invested her prayers. Okay, it's Mama Roach. If there is an actual hearing, I'll wait until all is over with Bang Shiok. Yeah. It's just a good lesson in like how business is done. A lot of their investment, the good thing about all of this is that a lot of their financial regulations are actually being copied from the US. So yeah, there have been other cases like this where I think a Samsung executive was already a Samsung founder or owner or something, was indicted and was actually fined. He got a suspended jail sentence. So I think there were two cases like this, but they're looking for one for this current president who's just hungry for any kind of big fish. Min did not want the company to go public. She was upset that the IPO occurred. What scandal is going on with Coachella? And Mama Roach helped, of all people. Yeah, I think you just for this case because she's not really involved in this. I mean, she didn't even have the money to buy her own shares. Remember, Bang Shiuk actually lent her 14 million or 13 million or whatever. She Bang Shiuk lent her money, so she actually doesn't have like a skin in the game. Like what kind of money are you going to be using to buy your shares? You had to borrow from Bang Shiuk. So, but she's saying that maybe she could have structured her contract a different way had she known that there was going to be an IPO. Everyone alert VNJK to meet us at hand to look for the laptop sham. Okay, so that's the case. Do you have any other question before I go on to the next topic? Considering she's trying to insert herself into the story, makes me even more suspicious. You know, she just needs the media space. Did the new press change CMA rules to make it seem Bang Shiyu committed a crime? Yes, after. So he was already investigated about this. Remember the first time. That's where all this guarantee, him guaranteeing the contract and all came about. So they already ruled, yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't in our rule for him to disclose. We weren't requiring him to disclose what we're telling him he didn't disclose, so he didn't commit a crime. After that, they changed the rules. So now they're saying that even a private agreement between an individual and a PEF has to be disclosed. That came in after this contract. She got more than she deserved as is. MHJ reminds me of a serial killer who swings her herself. Oh my God. Family low key on SK. Did you know that the granddaughter of the Samsung Chebol debuted in All Day Project? Yeah. Yeah. MHJ said she felt abandoned because Bang Hyuk later told C-level admins, but not her. Okay. When is the next court dates for the put option and contract? November, was it October 20 something or November 20 something? That would be the next one, and it will be her turn. It would be MHJ's turn to take the stand. MHJ is persistent in getting herself homeless. But you can make a rule retroactive. True. Yes, you can't. You can't. But it's South Korea. I mean, I'm not saying that the U.S. the U.S. judicial process is anything, but it's not. It's pristine. But this is just, they can make things happen here in. I mean, in South Korea. So November 27th. There you go. So that's the next hearing, and it's going to be her turn to take the stand. The judge's gonna have a headache after MHJ for all the eye rolling he'll be doing. I still don't believe the shaman is real. It's her money man. Would that shaman want BTS destroyed? Someone actually had the theory that the because a lot of people can't understand why Min Hee Jin has this desire to bring down Le Seraphim and Nu and I'll It, right? Because she's so like fixated on these two groups because it doesn't seem to be like like so what if they succeed, right? Like so what? It doesn't make sense. Um a lot of people, especially in the West, a lot of people know that, you know, even even let's just assume, let's just for the sake of this argument that this discussion that she's right in that they copied um the long hair. Just, it's so silly, but that she actually invented all of those dance moves and whatever. Let's just assume that, right? So what? Like, so you move on, right? The thing is that, so you move on to the next that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to evolve, you're supposed to advance, you're supposed to do something different. Like, so what is it? What's the what is it? What's that? Why is there so much fixation? And a lot of people are theorizing that um she came from SM Entertainment, who seems to have this like cycle where they have to take out, once a new group comes into the picture, the old groups disappear. So that's their theory. So in her eyes, it's a threat because she feels that, oh, there are new groups. That means my group won't be prioritized anymore. I don't buy that theory. I'm just saying that a lot of people think that that's where her need to destroy these two groups are coming from. Did you copy nudges? Excuse me, I have white hair, which they don't have. I haven't colored my hair. When is the next dates for the irrelevant? I think theirs is October. This is the judging already. So the sentence is going to be, I think it's October 22. So this is when the judge will decide on the case. It's only been an hour and a half. We're not done. Let's keep talking. Back to news. I would love to take a picture with Jungkook and Jimin wax figure. Okay, so Wayang Yonwa. So there's a new clue that have been because of this new not new, but there is an Instagram account that a lot of armies feel is actually connected to Wayang Yonwa or connected to Big Hit for that matter, because they are using visuals that are very much connected or can be connected to BTS and the Bangtan universe. Okay. So yesterday, It's this account. I don't know if you're following it already, but S07 underscore 2208, sorry, 220502, something like that. But I posted the link on my um, Twitter. So they posted the new content, which is essentially the sea, and then I think there's a butterfly or something. It's a video, and then at the end you will hear Jungkook's voice. Okay, so when they posted that, people are now asking like, is this like a sign, a part of their comeback? The other option is that it could just be a fan account who's trolling us. BTS never acknowledged this account. I've never acknowledged this account. So there's a big possibility that it's just a fan account. they're just they're just they're just trolling people. They're just clowning us. And then, it's just going to that's also a possibility that this has nothing to do with BTS. But I always say, if it doesn't harm them, if it encourages to talk about BTS, for as long as it's not putting anybody down, let's go ahead, right? Okay, for as long as it doesn't take the attention away from BTS, that is all fine for me. Okay. You didn't hear Jungkook? It's just his voice singing. Butterfly. It's just at the end of it, it's just his voice singing. So, yeah. Not me. I don't trust that easily. No, I don't either. I'm like, well, it could be just a fan account. But I'm just saying, for as long as it's going to keep the focus on BTS, I will only stop interacting with this if it takes the attention away from BTS. Right? If we start focusing just on the account and like not actually put it connected to BTS, then I will have a problem with that. For as long as the mentions and the curiosity and the attention goes to BTS, I'm all good with that. Um, I mean, half the time, as I've mentioned in the other video that I did for the crown theory, 99% of the time we're wrong in the theories, but it's okay. Okay. So I do think personally that it is connected to the 10th anniversary of Wayang Yonhwa. Even before BTS members renew their contract for the second time, they already talked about celebrating the 10th anniversary of Wayang Yonhwa. And it's a very important part of their discography and their career because this is really where it all started, right? And also, by the way, while I was reviewing some of the past interviews that they did, because I was preparing this misinformation series that I'm doing for BTS, I saw in two interviews where they actually stated that the story comes from BTS. The story of their Bangtan universe, the BU, it actually comes from Bang Hyuk and BTS. So it's the seven of them with Bang Hyuk that would sit down and actually talk about, okay, what are we going to be talking about now? What's the subject? What is that? So it's from them, not from anybody else. Okay, and I will put that in the misinformation series. Okay, so um, how many times have we become excited for no reason? Oh, way too many times. Way too many times. And it's okay for as long as the attention is on BTS. For as long as we don't take away the attention from them. As long as the mentions, the trends, it's all BTS, it helps BTS. Just don't put it on someone else. Okay. So they did say that they were going to celebrate the 10th anniversary. Just as a reminder for everybody, the beginning, if you want to really start the series, you read the Save Me manhwa. It's a manhwa for Koreans. So if you're a member of my Patreon, I'm going to upload that's free, by the way. Okay. Um, so I'm going to upload the series, the entire Save Me manhwa on Patreon so you can access it. But you can also go to the actual website of their webtoon. It's still there. They haven't taken it down. I'm just uploading it there because it's easier to scroll. You can save it on your whatever. Okay. So start with Save Me. That's where you begin. And then Begins Youth is your second, because Begins Youth supplements the Save Me manhwa. Okay. So those two are sort of connected. Some of the loose ends and questions you will be able to answer in Save Me, you'll be able to answer with Begins Youth. Okay. And then from there, you do the notes. You do the notes one and two. And after two is when the conclusion actually happens. So MV's highlights are just major moments, important moments, but not necessarily meant to actually give you plot points. Now, the other question that I have, and it seems to be the answer is yes, is that could it be that Love Yourself be after the notes too? So in the notes too, I'm about to say something that it's a spoiler. So if you don't want to hear the spoiler, you have to stop watching now. But also, this is 8 years old, so I don't know what to tell you. It's been 8 years since this thing has been out. So, okay. So stop watching if you don't want to hear the spoiler. Okay, one, two, three. All right. So at the end of the notes too, he was able to keep everybody alive. Okay, Jin was able to keep everybody alive. Um, Now, I think Love Yourself is what happens after he kept everybody alive. Now, just because he kept everybody alive doesn't mean that he saved everybody. So the lingering problems are still there. And I think that's what Love Yourself was supposed to answer, was supposed to explore. Like what happens to actually, what is it that they need to do in order to actually resolve the problems? Okay. Um, Okay, so here are some of the open plot points. All right, so these are the things that the entire series never answered. Even if you exhaust all of your materials, you'll never find the answer, or at least I never found the answer. So, as you know, Jin is the central character. He's the time traveler, and he left the group, returned to the U.S. after this. So he was in the U.S., came to Seoul, developed a friendship with the six. Became really tight. Things went south. After all of that, he decided he was going to leave and go back to the US to finish his studies. After 2 years, he came back to South Korea to find his group in chaos. So the group isn't spending time anymore. Crimes here and there. People were just everybody in chaos. And that's when he discovers that he can travel. He can actually can time travel. um, Yoongi Suga is an arsonist, and he's very, very self-destructive. He's haunted by his mother's death, so he blames himself for some reason for the death of his mother. And also in some parts of the book, his father is projected as an abuser, but in Begins Youth, he's not. He's just passive, but not an abuser. He has a very tight friendship with Jungkook, but it does not. Okay, I'll get that later. Hosok, he is an abandoned child, as you see in the music video. His mother gave him chocolates, a bar of chocolate, and then she left him, and so he suffers from seizure, and also was very dependent in medicines. Taeyong, as you know, not accidentally, he unalive his father after years of being abused. Jungkook is his downfall actually started when he's very much ignored at home. His stepfather is also projected to be abusive, and so his only the only source of love that he feels is the group. So when the group fell apart, he fell apart, and he died in an accident. Jimin is the forgotten patient. Something happened to him in his childhood. He didn't know what, but he found himself in an institution, and he people said that he was actually misdiagnosed. So he wasn't actually mentally ill, but he was diagnosed, and so he was being treated for mental health issues. Okay. So he lost a huge part of his childhood. He doesn't remember. So, question, was Jin able to save them all? Yes, everyone is alive. Um, so each time he would time travel, so Jin would go back in time, specifically to April 11, he would learn more about his friends. And that's actually how you explore each character. It's beautiful how they were able to explore it. So each time he would time travel, he would discover something about his friends. And out of those discovery, that's how he came closer and closer to actually saving them. Okay. Um, Jimin saw a kidnapped child. That's one of the. So there are several narratives on what happened. You'll be able to piece them together in notes 1 and 2, and then that's also what was projected in Begins Youth. But I have my doubts to that. I think he has a very unreliable memory. Okay, so but in the end, although he was able to keep everybody alive, it doesn't mean he was able to save everybody. What they had was hope, not yet life. They were just hopeful. And the hope was still based on their friendship. So it's like, okay, we're going to be okay for as long as we are together. We're going to support each other for as long as we're together. Okay. But there are things that did the boys come up with his own stories? Probably they had help in doing it already. Remember, they're also so busy. And as a writer, I can tell you, although it is very much possible for one person to come up with all of these things, um, like for example, J.R.R. Tolkien actually came up with the entire universe of Game of Thrones, and then you have Harry Potter, just one person coming up with the entire universe. It's possible, but also they're not doing anything else but writing. And BTS, they have other things, so they probably had help in putting together everything. But in the old interviews that they had, they explained that everything starts with the six, with the seven. Why do I keep on saying six? With the seven of them, and then Bang Shi-yuk sitting down together and coming up with the concept and the story. So we can safely say that the story came from them, but the entire universe, they probably had help in expanding it. Okay, questions that they never answered. Um, One is Sok Jin's time reset ability. So in the Save Me webtoon, it was the cat. So he found the cat in the beach that gave him some sort of an ability to time travel. Although he can't actually control it, he would always come back to April 11, and then from there he would progress. But then in Begins Youth, there is some clue that it actually probably came from his father, because he, remember in Begins Youth, oh, a lot of you haven't watched it before, but in Begins Youth, he kept on watching this video, and then he would see himself and his mom and his dad in it. And also there, his father seems to always act mysterious, like there's something there. So I feel like maybe the father has the ability and was passed on to him. But also in notes 2, it seems to be that it was his mom. So we don't know. So that was never actually, how do I know so much? I read this entire thing. Save Me. I did this entire thing. So I read Save Me, watched the series, read notes 1 and 2. I pieced together the music videos, the highlight reels, the entire 9 yards. um the I know that, but are the solo videos connected to BTS storyline? Yes, they are connected to BTS storyline. Yes. Okay, so the big question is, does the mother have anything to do with it? How exactly he actually gained back the ability to time travel? We know that across all spaces, across all literature, the mother isn't there. His mother died young. Well, and he was young when his mother died. So my theory is that for him to truly, truly save the entire group, it has something to do with his mom. Because his mom is actually central to the life of the parents of his friends who are all affected who are all affected by what happened with their parents. So I think his mom is connected to the parents of his friends. There's something that happened there. So that is my theory for him. Did you play the mobile game? Yes. I told you all of it. Okay. So play the game. Yeah. So V's abusive father. So in the series, his father has always been abusive. In Begins Youth, it is tied to what happened to the mother of Suga or Sein. So the mother of Suga and the father of V were actually friends when they were in high school. They belonged to this group. Something happened to the mother of Suga or Sein, and the father of V had something to do with it. And the father of V carried that all the way until he's old. And so his abusiveness is rooted in what happened to the mother of Suga. So the big question is what happened to the mother of Suga? We don't know. And then why is V's trauma so deep? Did he participate? The father. Why the father of V? Why is his trauma so deep? Did he participate in whatever happened to the mother of Suga? Right. So that's my question. Like, was he a willing or an unwilling participant in what happened to Suga? And in the series Begins Youth, the father of Jin has a part in what happened to the mother of Suga. So they're all connected. So in other words, it's actually the parents of the seven that's actually effing up the life of their children. Okay, my theory is that V's father found love and peace at some point, but something happened that triggered his alcoholism. So I think whatever happened to the mother of Sein, he actually was able to get over it. But the father of Jin, when he returned, triggered that memory, and that's why he went back into drinking. Okay. Something happened with the parents that caused it all, but the actions of the boys has to fix it. Jin is key, but he has to understand he can't do it alone. Yes, I have a theory on that as well. Jimin's trauma. So this is what I was talking about. So he has always been neglected, and in some versions of the universe, his parents were actually abusive. In Begins Youth, he witnessed a crime. But the big question is that what actually happened to him? It's not very clear. And what was the extent of his parents' abuse? So my theory is that he didn't witness a crime. It happened to him that at some point he was used to do a crime, or that he was held in a place where the crime kept on happening, and that the man harassing them in Begins Youth, that there was a man who was harassing his family. That man was used by his parents. He already solved it. No, not fully. Not fully. If you watch Begins Youth, oh yeah, they were so good. If you watch Begins Youth, it's still vague as to why is that man actually harassing his family. So it's all because the assumption is that he witnessed the crime. But my God, because his memory is very reliable, right? He wasn't able to fully piece it together. He was able to piece some of it, but because he has been subjected into too much treatment, I think it's very unreliable. Is there a webtoon or real life drama? I really don't like this because they are involving the idols' families. Huh? No, these are the characters. These are the characters, not the family itself. So they have nothing to do. These are characters in the these are not real life. I'm so lost. I need a complete work with all the answers. Okay. So I'm preparing something for that, but these are just the things that you need to know is not answered. But I'm preparing the linear storyline. So the storyline that I'm preparing, the explanation that I'm preparing, there's another YouTuber that actually Celeste, I think is her name. she sort of did that. But there's a lot, like it does require, you can't take the entire thing for its face value. You have to, if you actually think about the stories, you will realize that there's so many there, that so many plot points that were loose, like they did not close it fully. um it's not real. Yeah, it's not real. It's just their storyline. Okay. And so I the same thing, Celeste is good. Yeah, so Celeste is her name, right? Yeah. So she put it together. So her name is Celeste. She put it together. But she sort of took it at face value. If you want to like really dig deeper into what happened, um you need to ask questions and see what they are actually not telling you. Oh, she said that Ruth said that she has an updated version. So Celeste is it X Celeste or something like that? I think is she. It's like X Celeste, right? If someone knows exactly, and it is sold out. Yes, it's sold out. They won't do that. They won't. The only regret I have with the notes is that I only bought one copy. I usually buy two. Okay. So the other thing about the other loose end is Suga's memory. I think so. It is portrayed. It doesn't really fully explain how he was able to save himself from the fire. Um, and there's this like questions: did the father set it on fire, and that killed his mother? But I think his involvement, Suga's involvement in the fire, is bigger than, ec- uh, including. Oh, so X Celeste is the name. X and then Celeste, Celste. X Celeste. Yeah. So I was right. X Celeste or something. That's pretty good if you want to just really look at the linear events. But as I've said, if you want to like ask deeper questions, she took it at face value. It's still good, as I've said, if you just want to know factually what happened. She's very, very good. She's Filipino too. So yeah, so yes. So in the notes too, it was actually JK that was able to save Suga from the fire. But what I'm saying is that there is something deeper why he felt so guilty about the death of his mother. Because if it's just you saving yourself and your mother going, I don't think it's that. There's something deeper there why he felt so burdened by it. So I don't know what it is, but that's why it's an open-ended question for me. Something deeper there. Okay. Last is Jungkook. His father. So in Begins Youth, the mother is there. In the notes, the mother is sometimes there, sometimes not there, and the father is abusive. So again, these are things that, because it's different timelines always, right? Whenever he goes back in time, it's different timelines. And so I think the question is, what happened to the mom, his biological mother, and why is the mother more absent than present in the story? So what happened to, what is it, what's the deal with Jungkook? Why is the mother more absent than present in the story? What is worse, traumatic family drama, trauma or shipping? Is it webtoon without the idols real names? I think it's all good for family drama. So for Save Me, they had the intention of using the names of BTS. So they use the names Suga, Jimin, whatever. They use their names. In Begins Youth, they use the names of their Chacos character. If you would remember, there was a bunch of complaints about using the names of BTS members that actually came from haters. I don't know what they had to change it or whatever. But yeah, so that I personally don't see any issue. I prefer that they use the names of the BTS members, but Sein, Haru, all those things work too. Okay. um but I think that campaign to push BTS or Big Hit not to use the names of BTS members came from haters, just because they know it's going to get a lot of hits if it's the names of BTS members. So it's fiction. So It's all right. Okay, so and then RM's detachment. There always seems that it seems that he knows more than what he's leading on. So I feel that he is actually he can help Jin in saving the group more than he's leading on. So I feel that that part is not explored a whole lot because he's so victimized. RM is so victimized in this story. Like he's so stuck with his family, he couldn't do anything, which is uncharacteristic of him because he's smart. Um. So yeah, it's just I think there's more to it. It doesn't seem like him to just be a victim. I think he knows more than what he's leading on. So in this 10th anniversary, these are the things that they could put a closure on. How did Jin actually got his time travel ability? What happened to the mother of Shoga? And how is it connected to the parents of V and Jin? What happened to Jimin in his childhood? And why was his parents so hell bent in putting him in an asylum? What happened to Dogon, the RM character, and um, what happened to the mother of J Hope? So those things, if they can answer all of those things, that would close the first part, and then we can go on and proceed to love yourself. It was just a continuation. Um, Okay, thanks for answering, Fairlane. My concern is those Dululu fans that can't differentiate faction from. Yes, I understand that concern, and that is a valid concern. Although personally, and I understand that that's not the case for a lot of people. But personally, I prefer not to cater to the haters. But because if you cater to the haters, there's just no way you will be able to satisfy them, right? So you can give them what they want. They'll find something else to complain about. So then they'll complain about it. You give it to them, then they'll complain about something else. So it is better that they are ignored. When they are ignored, they have no power over you. So there's nothing you can do. So, it's like I don't care about your opinion. So you can just yap, and no one's really going to care. So I prefer not to cater to the haters. Um, In fact, there's somebody who actually messaged me. I will respond to that. I don't know if you are watching right now. If you are, so she messaged me on IG saying that there are some creators that are reacting to my videos and sort of putting it out of context or whatever. And she was asking, like, what should I do? Should I give them more videos and whatever? And my response has always been, um, if all of my contacts are all over social media, right? It's all over the internet. You can get in touch with me via social media. My DMs are open. You can email me. There's so many ways you can get in touch with me. So I think if it's a decent human being, um, and if there's something you don't understand, the first thing that you do is ask a question instead of assuming things. And this might be something that will help you. I don't know. So I'm just sharing. But if you choose to judge first instead of asking, I think that's a sign that you don't really want understanding. What you want is just clicks, or you just want to hate or something or whatever. So I don't think it is worth it to get in touch with them. If they want to clarify anything that I'm saying, they know how to get in touch with me. So nah, I don't think it's worth it. And also the reason I've told you this before. The reason I don't like watching content of other people is that I don't want to get influenced, especially the good ones, the ones that you guys watch often. The mere fact that you guys watch them often means that they are really good. I don't want to get insecure. I'm already insecure enough. I don't want to, I don't want their content to influence. What if I get jealous and just copy the way that they do their content, which I won't be good at because it's their style, right? So just leave them be. I think that's okay. Thanks for the mention anyway. So the same thing is true with the haters of BTS. If they are already hating without even giving them a chance, I think they are not interested in getting to know BTS. They're just interested in hating. So let them be. Don't give them the attention so that they don't have the power. Okay. Questions about this? I hope that I kind of helped. Number one, if not to clear up any kind of understanding with Wayang Yonwa, at least to get your interest back into the universe. If you can just search, I think that's a win. If I made you search or think about it, I think that's a win. But those are the questions I still have hanging over me about this, the first part of the universe. Um, where is the time travel ability coming from? What happened to Jimin in his childhood? What happened to the parents? The complete story of the parents of V, Suga, and Jin. What happened? Why did J Hope's mom leave him behind? What is it that Dogon or RM actually knows? And yeah, doesn't RM character die in a container fire? Is that just a storyline in one of the time travels? Correct. Just one of the storylines. So he would always experience, like, in his try, he would be able to save one and then the other one will die. So he'd go back again and try again. So he'd be able to save two, but then the third one would something like that. So there's a lot of like, what the hell happened? I'm in panic mode now. Gotta be on top of the Huayang Yonwa before closure happens. Well, in that case, I'm successful because I got you interested again. Um, I will be following this whole storyline just so I understand what it is about in the future. Okay. So I'm preparing like a detailed, but mine, so if you want something just factual, go to that YouTube channel, X Celeste. She's very good. So that's just factual. Mine will have more analysis in the characters, you know. Yeah. Debak is her poodle that was on her lap. That is my poodle that was on my lap, and then he's gone now. He's somewhere in my room. All of them die at least one storyline except the Jean character, and he may be the one actually dead. um Rana is saying that she cried so hard, especially in the last episode of Begins Youth. Hey there, got here late. Dodger girl was running around today. There is more into one than one time loop. Yeah, there's more than one time loop. He sort of doesn't have control. He would just zap back into April 11. It will always be April 11. So there's something about that. I mean, there's a reason why he doesn't get to choose where he goes back to. And as I've said, in the Begins Youth, the mother of Jin played much more of a story than in the notes and Save Me. So there you go. uh, okay, do you have questions? I need a happy ending. It's a happy ending. Everyone is alive. And then we go into Love Yourself, which is a continuation. So in the old interview that I read, there's so many interviews and some of them are like 2013, 14, 15, 16. So I was going back just because I was, as I've said, doing the misinformation series. That's where I rediscovered that interview where he actually explained, RM explained, RM and Suga and Jimin were the three people that explained that it was the seven of them coming together with Bang Hyuk. And each of them would actually like research and then come back with a proposal. And then they also explained that the trilogy actually started in the school trilogy. So what happened was that before um so right after their comeback, the first after the first mini album, the first release, they were discussing what they were going to do next, right? So it's the seven of them with Bang Shiok. And then one of the staff members said, "Why don't you continue the story?" And that's where the trilogy actually began. So it actually began with the idea of always doing a trilogy began with the school love affair. Sorry, the school series, right? So they said, "Oh, okay, that's a good idea." So when that worked, they applied it to the most beautiful moment in life. And in the book, the beyond the story, they stated that the most beautiful moment in life concept, Wayang Yonwa, was Suga's magnum opus. So, if you piece all those interviews together, we can conclude that the concept of Wayang Yonwa came from Suga. Maybe, most likely, they had help to develop it, but okay. Are they going to reopen the story? It never ended. To a certain degree, it never ended. He was able to keep everybody alive in the end, but but alive is different from saved. Alive is different from survival. Okay, so I hope I can finish that. As I've said, if you want something quick, just go to X Celeste. She's very good, very comprehensive. The one that I'm doing has more of an analysis, but hers will do just fine if you just want to see factually what's happening in the story. Okay. Genius Young. He is a genius. Bang Luna is asking for a picture. I showed it to you already. I was actually planning on doing so just go to watch the interview of Zane Lowe with Halsey. It's so good. It's so good. You all are looking for pictures though. I showed it to you already. Next time. So watch the interview of Zane Lowe and Halsey. So just go to YouTube, search for their names, and you'll see the latest interview. Halsey actually talked about some issues being signed with big labels in the US. And I think my main issue there, one of the like biggest insights that I got is that as big as she is in the West, she is pretty big. I mean, not stadium big, but still pretty big. She's had like two number ones in Hot 100 already, I think. But she said that she's not able to do a new album because her last album did only 100,000 copies, 95 actually. So it was like it just made me think about in like connect I was able to connect just in my head, connected it to like how BTS is doing it, so that even though RM is releasing the most uncommercial of all albums, he's still doing way better than 100,000 copies. So, and the 100,000 copies that includes all of everything, not just physical sales. So watch that interview. It's a little, I feel bad for him, but I recently got a PDF of the notes. Do you want it to share it with? Sure, yeah, go ahead, because you can't buy it anymore. So usually I don't. If it is a paid content, I've mentioned this before. Usually I usually don't give it away if it is a paid content of BTS or some artists, just because I want to sort of respect their, that's their living, right? But because you can't buy the notes anymore. Right? So go ahead, yeah, send it to me if you have a copy. Okay. So is there anything else that you want me to talk about? Any question you want me to answer? As I've said, for as long as I got you curious in the most beautiful moment in life, again, I'm happy because that's just what I want you to be. Just curious again of the most beautiful moment in life. Okay. Do you have questions? Please like the video. Please like the video. Where is my like the video? There you go. Please like the video. Thanks for staying with us for 2 hours, for sharing your writer's side, and for answering all our questions. You are thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for being with me. I'll see you Wednesday. And let's all have a great rest of your Monday and Tuesday. I hope Halsey transfers to Hype America. That would be great. I feel Danger should have been a monster hit, but they were sabotaged. X Celeste has a very good video explaining. Yeah, so just search for her name, X Celeste, on YouTube. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night. Bye. See ya.